Good morning. This is Ryan with Love the Work. Welcome to the recording process. How's everybody doing? Going to talk about different songs we've recorded and look at how we recorded them, and also look at things we want to try in the future and we want to work towards in the recording world. So let's see what the wheels got for us. Looks like Casey. 16 track, 16, nice. This is one he did, I think he recorded in his house years ago. And I think I'll just play this one for you. It's like, I was talking about it on a different show. What show was it? Trying to figure out the chords. The way he plays guitar is so different. He uses, to me it sounds like he plays like small chords, like 2 notes at a time. I should put it into Melodyne and see what the notes are now that I'm thinking about it. But, he plays these little fifths and thirds, but he implies so much harmony and interesting stuff with that method. But this one's super fun. He has a bass going and these great harmonies. And I guess he recorded in Logic. I think Matt can confirm that. And got pretty creative with the effects and the layering, and especially with some of the things he was doing with vocal harmonies, which was just so awesome, man. So next level. But let's see here. Casey, my musical hero.
My baby wears pigtails, dark red hair.
Those harmonies that are like an echo.
Leather clothes, knee-high boots. Famous smile. She loves the simple things in life. I love the simple things in her. The way she braids her hair. The way she braids her hair. My baby has no fear. Our fate is fixed.
No drums though.
Supple skin, golden glow.
You could almost say they're not needed though.
Princess eyes. She loves the simple things in life. I love the simple things in her. The way she braids her hair. The way she braids her
I wonder what he was going for when he was dialing in these sounds. I love that harmony. I feel like drums are needed.
his pigtails, dark red hair.
Yeah, I feel like drums are needed on that song. I'd love to record it nowadays and see what he would want to go for and what approaches he would want to try in the studio, because he recorded that at his house, I'm sure, and got some guitars and some bass and some vocals, and that was enough to make this, to me, it's just this amazing piece of music. Those harmonies with that deep reverb and delay just sound just like sublime. They sound like they come from heaven. But man, it's super cool. Heaven Stars, come on. Yes, Heaven Stars. Hell yes. This one is so fun, man. I'm sure I wrote it on 7-string guitar, and it was basically just 2 chords, and then moving down to another chord. And I hope I recorded the drums first. I think I did actually. In those days, I was in my studio in North Hollywood, and I was recording pretty much a song at least every week. And not all of them had drums, but whenever they did, I was excited because it was like a full-blown production. Drums, bass, guitars, sometimes some keyboards and vocals. And this one, like Mediterranean Food, I started, I think, with the drum track. And I love the sound of the drums I got in those days. It was my little Ludwig Breakbeats drum kit. I had my Sabian practice cymbals, very small kit, 2 microphones because I only had a Tascam that could do 2 channels at a time. So I put 1 microphone above the snare, dynamic mic, not even a condenser, to capture the whole kit, and then a RE20 dynamic mic in front of the bass drum. I put it the right distance away so that it felt like I got some boom out of it. Not too close, but a little further away, so it let the wave develop a little bit. I'd say like maybe 1.5 feet away, maybe 3 feet away. But I did it by ear. I put it in a place where I could hear it start to bloom and develop a little bit. And surprisingly, with that 1 dynamic mic above the snare, I actually got a lot of, I think, really cool sounds. You hear them on Rainbow Grass. But then layered on that guitar. There's a middle section that I did on keyboards where I wanted to do just some like neo soul, like dirty chords. The funny thing about that is I'm not like an experienced keyboard player where I know how to do that, right? So I kind of was just poking at it and luckily finding notes and chords that work. That's the album cover right there. And luckily found these chords that work, and I think I held the whole thing together with strings. I might have even started with the strings where they're just very simple chords that just go and go and go, and played them with a string sound on my keyboard, and then comes back in da, 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 and then comes back in with the main theme, the guitar and the drums and everything. But the thing that is really exciting to me about Heaven Stars is I got everybody to play on it. Billy, Brad, and Matt all play on it. So I went to Maine that year. I think it was probably 2019, probably. Visited, went to Maine. And I brought my little Tascam with me. My DP-08 has 8 tracks, and Billy came over to Matt's. We hooked up, and he brought his bass. And it's a very simple song, just a couple of chords. So he was able to just figure it out really quick. And then there's a interesting rhythm at the end, though. The outro riff is pretty interesting. I just kind of improvised it on drums. I did do drums now that I think of it, because that part's improvised on drums. And so I wrote it out on paper for him, whether it was a short hit or a long hit, and just gave him a quick map, and he was able to read it and record. And funny thing is, I wasn't super pumped about his tone. He had a Schecter bass, which I love Schecter, but I love Fender stuff as far as bass goes. I love Fenders so much. And usually I don't like anything else, to be honest. But he brought his Schecter bass, and I think we plugged straight in. I had like a preamp, but no tone shaping at all, no color at all, and wasn't super pumped with the tone, but recorded the tracks. And just the fact that it was Billy, I'm just so grateful even now that I got to work with him again. And the funny thing is, later I was showing my friend Win on his like $80,000 sound system through this sick console and Westlake speakers, and we're listening. He's like, first thing he says when he hears the song, he's like, "Oh, I like that bass." I was like, of course. The tone that I not that excited about, he's like, "Oh, I like it." He notices it right away, and he's got an ear. I mean, he's a brilliant engineer, literally world class. And so Matt, what did Matt play on that? I think he played, I want to say, some guitars. I can't think of it. I'll play it for you, and I'll see what Matt played. These guitars, keys. I can't think. Fuck, I can't even think. But then Brad came over too, and he recorded some lead guitar. I had a rough idea of what I wanted, but then he took that and kind of ran with it. We layered it up. The parts he recorded, I felt like the takes were not 100% there, and so when I got back to LA, I recorded. I kind of doubled what he did and pieced it together so that it's like him and I both playing the stuff together. But on the outro, he played this shit that was straight out of Radiohead. It was like, I'll never think of the song, but it was, it was I might be wrong. And he plays this drop D riff that just this guitar, it was just so like open, and it was like flowing like speech. It was very like, not conversational, but more like soliloquy, like exploring through language the music. And what he did, the concepts that he did, I loved so much. But again, the takes I didn't feel were complete. I didn't feel like we had enough time to get these solid takes. Like, I saw the idea, but I didn't see it develop. And so again, when I was back in LA, I recorded a symmetrical or a complementary track to what he did. And you'll hear both those two guitars at the end. I'm tripping. I'm like, what the hell did Matt play on that song? Because I know we all played on it, which is, I mean, that's one of the that might be the only song that we all played on so far, all four of us. So it's very, very, very dear to me. And also just a super fun song that I love the energy of. Let me see. Oh, piano. Matt played fucking piano and horns and all kinds of shit. I love that drum sound. I love that bass drum. compression. This is before I really got a grip on compression and mixing. I love that bass drum. I love those horns. This is Matt.
Love blind.
I fucking love that song. Oh my god. Fuck. Forgot how like sublime sounding it is. Man. Love that bass drum. Love the sound of those drums. All those horns that Matt added, like, just made it. That is a fucking great song. I love that song. Shit. This is one I'm recording for Never Enough, next album I'm planning, and kind of a jazzy song I wrote on guitar. I think it was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes long, but I wanted to have more music. So even though I've been working on it for like over a year, I finally this week, probably a couple days ago, wrote this new part for it, which is going to be a guitar solo, and just a basic 3-chord 1-4-5 thing. But it's interesting because it kind of shifts the key signature, so the whole thing, even though it feels kind of basic, also feels very fun. But pretty pumped for that. I don't have really a draft I want to share, even though I think I have already on this show, but I'm excited for that one. I'm excited to see it have this new section where we can start to develop some guitars, and maybe, that might lead someplace else. This is an album that it's 8 songs, but like right now, as it stands right now, it's only like 20 minutes long, and I want it to be quite a bit longer. I want to blow out those songs and add new sections and add a lot of music to it. So I was in a big hurry to get it out, just because I have this obsession with being productive. But I'm glad that I'm taking my time with it, and I'm excited to see where we can take it together, especially collaborating, as we build capacity in that sense as collaborators, of what we can do with it musically, what parts we can add, and how we can develop these songs and make them more. Like, I feel like I have the shell and I have the skeleton, but I'm excited to blow it out into a full-blown thing. Shai Hulud, hella fun song I wrote on 7-string guitar. I like the range of 7-string guitar just because it has something a little extra. It's still music. It's still the same 12 notes everybody has always used, but it just gives you a little more in the low register to it's like a B chord on a guitar is here, and it sounds like this, and it's in that register. E is lower than that, F sharp is lower and has a certain impact, G even more so. You get to C and you're getting into different territory. But B is right there, and A is right there. A is such a central chord on guitar, but that's the register that it's in. E is below it and it has that impact. Well, when you have a 7-string guitar, now B can be this new thing. There's a low B, and that's a different impact. It hits an amplifier differently, it hits a speaker differently, it responds differently in your hand. Same with a C chord or an A chord. So that 7-string guitar gives a new response to these chords. E flat is a great example, because I play E flat major in the verse, and an E flat on a guitar is pretty high, because the lowest note is E, and once you get up to E flat, you're kind of in a higher register. It's almost its own new thing. So when you are able to bring that down an octave on a 7-string guitar, that E flat is a brand new thing, and it has this nice chocolatey darkness that's there that is completely different from what you're going to get out of a 6-string guitar, unless you tune down. But so it's fun for me to write on the 7-string guitar, just because it's a very different vehicle. Even though you could say it's very, it's the same thing, it's very, very different. Because then too, the dynamic between the high and low is even wider. So this is a song that has some nice jazzy chords, and is interesting because it's a call and response between a vocal and a lead guitar. So the chords speak with the vocal, and then there's a lead guitar that's a bluesy call and response. And then it moves into the even lower register on the verse. You're playing on the 7-string guitar and you're going down to E flat. So it's very, very fun from a compositional standpoint. I recorded it in my bedroom here. I had the deluxe reverb. I had the Gibson 7-string Les Paul Standard, which I sold. I regret that so foolishly. The funny thing is, I sold it, and it's because I wanted to pay off my credit card. And I sold it, and I had the money. I'm like, great. And then my car broke, and and all that money went straight into my car, like I didn't get ahead. So just one of those God laughing at you type of moments, And so, but I will get another one. I'm going to get flush and get another one of those for sure, because to me it's the ultimate guitar. When I graduated, my dad got me a Gibson Les Paul double cut. They had a DC standard, and it was this beautiful amber finish. I had 24 frets, and the sound was just incredible. I never had a Gibson at that point. I had cheap guitars, and when I got that Gibson, it just changed my life as a guitar player. Like, the tone you could get, the playability, not the pedigree that was there, but feeling that 24 and 3/4 inch scale, getting used to that, playing on it, and the sound of that guitar, those humbuckers, those woods, the whole package altogether was just like, it just formed for me what a guitar sound is. I mean, obviously we all heard Les Pauls growing up, and you hear Gibsons all over the place. But when I had it in my hands and I was making music with it, that became my thing. Simultaneously, I was getting into 7-string guitar. So I had I had a LTD, I think a H207 or 307. It was red. It had like it had I think a ash top, bolt-on neck, humbuckers, and I was like, 7-string that's for me, man. Like, and I've been a 7-string player ever since. I got a Schecter Blackjack that my dad gave me. Has a 26.5-inch scale, so it's long, but I put Seymour Duncans in it. It had Seymour Duncans in it, which has a wonderful Gibson type sound. Now I have Lundgren pickups in it, Heaven 57, which are a copy of a Gibson pickup. 2 neck pickups, in fact, which is something that Gibson did in the early days. I don't know if maybe they didn't develop a bridge pickup at that time, and the 2 pickups were identical, but it's the perfect sound for me. I love the sound of that Schecter. I play it on my jazz broadcast every Saturday night. It's just the perfect guitar. But that's because Gibson didn't make a 7-string guitar. This perfect Gibson sound that I had in my mind and in my heart, didn't exist on a 7-string guitar, because everybody who made 7 strings wanted to play metal. So the guitars were 25.5-inch scale at least, and usually longer, 26.5, 27-inch. And these long scale lengths didn't appeal to me. They don't feel right. They don't sound right. They don't play right by a long shot. But so in 2016, Gibson made a Les Paul Standard 7-string. They made 300 of them, 100 of each finish, and one of the finishes they did was translucent amber, which is the color of my guitar that my dad gave me for graduation years prior. And I was like, man, I had to have one. I got one on eBay or Reverb, and it was it. It was the perfect guitar. It was like the guitar that was made for me, And so that's the guitar I used to record Shai Hulud. I used it to record Brother, also on the self-titled album. Wrote some of the Jazz Odyssey and recorded some of the Jazz Odyssey riffs on that guitar. They didn't make it onto the final recording because I redid those tracks, but a lot of the self-titled album, which you see that right there, is recorded with the Les Paul 7-string. And so that's the guitar you hear in Shai Hulud. I borrowed a DX7, a Yamaha synthesizer, for a couple of songs on this record, and I used a nice synth bass sound for the bass, and I think Matt played bass guitar on it also, which is excellent bluesy bass guitar and organ. But I wanted to fatten up the low end with more synth, and use the DX7 for the synthesizer. This is one of the rare drum songs on the self-titled album that I used my practice cymbals on. I think it was before I got my real cymbals, but I really liked how it sounded, to be honest. And I'm sure I recorded the drums first. Thankfully, I just like songs better when I record the drums first. The feel to me seems better when you're playing to the drums as opposed to the drums playing to the music. There's exceptions, but that's my general feeling on it. Super fun guitar solo I played on the Les Paul again with, I think, the Rat distortion pedal, super thick and creamy, and vocals, man, did a million takes. I finally got some takes that I felt pretty happy with. I feel pretty happy with it. It's so hard for me to be happy with vocals. It's just a thing I struggle with. I think a lot of vocalists struggle with liking the sound of their own voice, but I finally got to this place where I put a lot of effects on it and just tried to get in the vibe and turn the lights down and sang the song, and added some super fun thick harmonies. Wanted to do some big chords, on this one that kind of made me think of like, and I think I'm thinking of the wrong song in terms of Love the Work, but Chain Lightning by Steely Dan, where there's a small vocal, dun, 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 and then boom, the harmonies come in, and all of a sudden it's very big. And that's something I wanted to do with this song. So, talking my voice raw, let me play this song and show you what I'm talking about. Mastered by Adam A. and at Gateway Mastering.
Curls as big as you and me, obscure as much as you reveal. She said, I've been waiting for you. Let's go do the wrong thing. You know it wouldn't be the first time. The fact that you care makes me wonder who you even are anymore. The fact that you care makes me pity you all the more. Curls as big as you and me, obscure as much as you reveal. She said, I've been waiting for you. To do something real. Let's go do the wrong thing. You know it wouldn't be the first time. The fact that you care makes me wonder are anymore. The fact
So fun, so fun. I love all the shit that Matt did to mix that record. He also played that organ that just takes you right to that place with that song. You know, it almost has this bluesy, roadhousey type of sound. That Chain Lightning vocal I was speaking of regarding Steely Dan, I think it was Code that I wanted to get that sound on. Excuse me, because I remember telling my friend Kate, who recorded on it, like, that's, I think the vocal sound I was going for, like, those big chords just hit. Maybe it wasn't that song, but I think it was. Loveline. This one's off Rainbow Grass. This is one, again, I think I started with the drums, thankfully. It's a very basic song as far as drums goes, and even chords and everything. But we used my Gibson ES-175, which I'm very blessed to have, guitar to record the main chords. Super basic song, except Matt brought in this bass and I think organ again that just took it to that place. I mean, the bass guitar. The song is very basic, you know, it's just a couple of chords, but the bass provides that movement and provides that vibe and creates that feeling of what the song is, and the way he walks that bass is just perfect for the song. I sang that one yesterday on the Oxford Hills Sound, but let me play that because I just want to hear this bass, and then this organ at the end. Matt taught me this thing in the studio. I was in the studio with him and Brad, and we were at Alan Bean's at Big Bean, and he's like, you want this thing that announces the end. You want this part that announces that the song is ending. And I learned that from him, and so he'll create this guitar part or organ part or whatever that just kind of announces that the end is there, and you I don't know if you catch it on the first time. I guess you probably do. I guess it works anytime you hear the song, but it just tells you like it's on its way out and this is the last repeat. And it's interesting, he did that with this song, you know, I think on the organ.
Love blind,
Bass.
love blind.
I love that snare so
Never
much.
saw you. Though I was love blind.
Piano.
Now love is a disease. I'd outlaw it if I could. It twists the object of desire beyond recognition, and renders impossible
play the next song, I don't care.
appreciation. Love blind,
And that brings in that organ.
ooh, love blind. Never saw you. No, I was love blind.
I don't think Billy could have done it better with that bass.
Power suffered. You call that choice. You
This next song, Billa, I'll tell you about afterwards. Hell yeah. It's funny, I'm a little embarrassed that there's like rhythmic like discrepancies on there, like you hear where the guitars get off time and shit. But yeah, it's one I used the Gibson on that one again, deluxe reverb. I used my Diesel VH4 pedal to get a lot of those sounds, and then the other guitar was my Schecter 7-string I was telling you about. And I like to use the Rat with that one, so I probably used the Rat. There's also, I used my 8-string, which is right here, and recorded a part that was a fifth below the main riff, so very low, but it's mixed in there very, very low. You don't hear it very much. But this is one we made a video for. I started making videos for each of the Rainbow Grass songs as promotion, and by the time, and I made them in order, so starting with track 1, moving on, and by the time I got to this one, like track 6, I don't think I had a satisfactory recording of the song yet. So the album was all ready, and I was making these promotional videos, but I don't think I had this song fully recorded yet. So what we did is we took the video recording and we used that as the album release. That's the version that you hear and that I put out. But I had a couple solos. Matt played his guitar solo and he played like a double length. So what I did is I cut it in half, and then I played a keyboard solo, and then I took the second half of the solo, and then after that I think I played another keyboard solo. But yeah, that's the thing I struggle with, and I think it's very much a psychological thing, because I feel like I'm a good enough player, and yet I feel like I kind of sabotage things by allowing a bad take to make it to the finish line. You know, like, especially with vocals where I feel the most insecure, it's hard to demand that high level of myself as a musician. And, you know, sometimes I use the excuse like, oh, well, I don't have other players. It's just me playing a lot of the stuff, you know, coming to, especially to drums. And I mean, I'm a guitar player, but it's something I'm working through. I mean, it's a battle for sure. And as I release music, I'm trying to hold myself to a higher standard because, you know, I picture this future where we have a lot of success and we have a lot of fans, and we're able to like do this full time because of the money we're making from it. And I picture people looking back and hearing these songs like that one and being like, man, the rhythm is wrong. Rhythm is fucked up. Like, how could they put this out? But I feel like it's kind of the excuse that I say is it's kind of like showing the process, you know, of an artist growing. You know, when you hear records of professional artists, especially in the 60s, 70s, you're hearing artists that developed as performers, you know. And me, I didn't develop as a performer. Like I rarely played shows, you know. I just developed in the studio recording and writing, and I think it's definitely a detriment, you know. But at the same time, the internet and technology has made it so much more accessible for people to create good art, good music, and not only that, but also release it, and not only that, but also promote it and build a fan base and a business off of it. So I feel like it's kind of, you know, these shitty sounding songs and takes, I feel like it's part of the journey, and you're seeing the process. You know, anybody who likes what we do and, you know, likes our energy will see that it's a process, and hopefully take some inspiration from that. But I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. How's the Wrecking Ball? 07 track 7, nice. This one Casey recorded, and Maria sang harmonies on it, beautiful harmonies. It's just guitar and vocal. Beautiful song. I think you hear the water fountain going in the background on this one. But just a great song, great harmonies. Yeah, the water fountain.
Let me mend your broken smile. I've only been to you a while. There's nothing in the way you look, nothing in the way you look, or the way you look at it.
Beautiful song, beautiful harmonies. I'm gonna try to ride it out the rest of the show with no water. Let's see how I do. Oh yes, Mediterranean food. This one is super fun because it was like the beginning of like actually collaborating with Matt again, which I'm very grateful for. I had the song. Again, this is when I started with drums, and sent the tracks to Matt, and he added these layers. It's wonderful guitar layers. You know, he has this ability to hear a song and hear those things that it needs instantly. He sees what it's like, you know, like Love Blind. He's like, okay, that needs doo-wop piano, and I know what the bass line's gonna be like, and then an organ outro, and he hears what's the other example? Shai Hulud, and he's like, okay, it's bluesy. I need the organ. I need the bass that does this, and he's just able to paint that picture, you know, based on whatever the song is. So Mediterranean Food is poppy, and he brought these 2 layered guitars, one left, one right, and Fender sound like a Jaguar guitar. I think it's even 3 layers, and just takes it to that place. You know, when I write a song, you know, I don't necessarily know how to paint that whole picture, and I come with a certain section of it, but he will bring these parts that make it complete, and they're kind of the obvious statement, but to me they're not obvious. It's like the thing I don't think to do, you know, and it's just so fantastic. But at the time I was recorded this, I was listening to Sports by Huey Lewis and the News. Killer record. Definitely listen to it. It's so good. Such a good band. But the drums were, I don't want to say they're so basic, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but they were so simple. And so when I recorded this song, I wanted to get that super simple beat, just super simple, because it can groove so hard, even though it's simple. It can say so much, even though it's doing kind of so little. So that's the drums I recorded for this song. One more fun note at the end, it goes into a heavy riff, heavy 7-string, 8-string guitar riff, and Brad plays this gnarly Tony Iommi type evil ass guitar solo, which I love so much. But let me show you this one. Also, this is one of the rare ones I used real cymbals on.
I would have felt in time. Yeah. Why'd you have to have feelings? Couldn't you be blind? And if touching was believing, you could have been mine. 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 Could have been mine. Could have been mine. Could have been mine. Could have been
Hear the car go by. Hell yeah, so fun. That's all the time we have. Oh, thank you so much for hanging, guys. Have a good day. See you later.